The fall season is full of end of the summer fiery shades and the dark and moody shades that help us transition into winter. It is for pumpkins and leaves, just kidding, no leaves, and cuddling up with your fur babies on the couch. Let's see if I can find a fur baby. Mr. Butters.
Aw, there's a fur baby.
If you are new here, don't forget to give this video a huge thumbs up and wait for it, subscribe. Today I have not one, not two, but 3 quick and easy fall time DIY decor projects for your home. These are all so dang cute, they'd make your grandma cry. And who knows, you may even want to make them for her for Christmas. So without further ado, get your crafty pants on and your glue guns out. Just kidding, we don't need these today. And let's get into the video. The first project I have for you is this dark and moody centerpiece. Ooh. I keep this on the center of my coffee table and I'm so impressed with how it turned out and how easy it was to put together. I feel like the colors make the room feel comfy and cozy, and they'll work well past fall and into winter. The first things you're going to need for this proyecto means project, are some floral stems and greenery. You will also need a carvable pumpkin like this one, and a floral foam block that will fit into the pumpkin to hold your arrangement in place. You're also going to need some pumpkin carvers. I like the skinny ones for cutting a smoother line, but you can use a knife if you need to. And finally, some wire cutters to customize and shorten your stems. You're going to need these. First things first, you want to end up with a hole large enough for your foam to fit through. So you can begin cutting out that stem of your pumpkin and gradually increasing the size of the hole until you can pop the foam through the middle. Next, it's as easy as trimming your stems and leaves and sticking them into the foam. That's it. I wanted my centerpiece to have some height, so I placed tall greenery in the back, almost fanned out like a peacock, and then clustered together the flowers more in the center. Finally, I filled in any gaps or spaces where the foam was still showing with the rest of the greenery stems that I took apart and separated, so I ended up with a really flush and full appearance. And this part is optional, but I also grabbed a couple of dried out cattails, I think that's what they're called, and these red spiky balls to, to mix in for a little added color and texture. The next project I have for you is this chunky warm blanket that I knitted with only yarn and my arms. Oh, would you look at that? I picked up this roll of giant yarn at the craft store and eventually realized that I needed 2 more to make an actual blanket. Luckily, I was able to save my spot using this roll of wrapping paper as a replacement for my arm, but so you don't make the same mistakes as me, you need at least 3 rolls for this. And coming from someone who has never knit anything before, this might seem complicated, but trust me, once you get started, it's a piece of cake. I think this whole thing took me a total of 30 to 45 minutes to make. You're going to want to pull out a good amount of yarn to begin with, I'd say at least 10 feet. We'll call this the tail. Then you want to drape that tail over your hand, as I'm doing here, and pinch the 2 ends together to create a loop. Then you're going to twist your hand around the front of the loop and grab that tail, pulling it up and through the original loop to create a new one around your wrist, and then pull on the tail in order to tighten the knot you just created. Don't make it too tight though, because you will need to slide it up your arm as you add more stitches. Then grab that tail between your pointer and ring finger of the other hand and hold the rest of the tail with your ring and pinky fingers. Next, add in your working yarn so that you're holding it with the ring and pinky along with the tail yarn. You should have created a loop like this. Then you're going to bring your thumb in and wrap that working yarn around it. Slowly pull up that loop around the thumb and put your other hand through it. Then turn your hand back towards you and go under the loop you created with your pointer and middle fingers, dropping the first loop to create the second around your wrist and pull tight. I know that was a lot, so I'm going to show you that again. Hold tail yarn between pointer and middle finger and grab the rest with your ring and pinky. Also, grab the working yarn with these two. Loop your thumb under the working yarn. Bring your opposite hand through the thumb loop, then over and back through the finger loop to create a stitch and pull to tighten. Got it? Okay, now do that 18 more times. Now to begin knitting, grab the working yarn with the same hand that has the stitches on it and slide that first loop over and off in order to create a brand new loop. Now turn that in towards your body and put your other hand through that loop, pulling on the stitch to make it tighter. And then repeat this process until all of the stitches are moved to your other arm, sliding the stitches up so that they all fit. Continue to repeat this process back and forth between your arms until you get to the end of your working yarn. This is the point where you need to knot together the end of your working yarn with the start of a new roll in order to continue. This is just a basic knot. Pull it tight and trim the ends with the scissors. Then continue on your merry way. Once you get close to the end of your yarn, you're going to want to save enough to finish off the last part of the blanket. You're going to start by creating 2 stitches onto your opposite arm, the same way you have been for the past 40 minutes or so. And instead of adding another stitch, you're going to bring the first one over the second and drop it. Then continue this process of creating a second stitch and pulling it through the first until you are left with only one remaining stitch. Create one more loop and then cut your remaining yarn, pulling the end through the loop to create a knot and tighten it. With the 2 tails that you are left with, simply weave them into the edges of your blanket and bam! There it is. This last DIY is my favorite of the 3. It is this floral floating picture frame. It's a perfect way to display the engagement photos my fiance and I recently had taken. I picked up this floating frame for $13 on sale, and I love that it comes with this hinge mechanism to open and close it. Then I had 2 photos printed in a size that would leave some extra space around the outside perimeter of the frame. This is optional, but I wanted my frame to be double-sided, so I took a piece of tape and rolled it onto itself so that both sides were sticky, making sure that both photos were both right side up, make sure you do that, and pressing the backs together. Once I had the photos where I wanted them, I took another strip of tape and placed that at the top edge and smoothed out any bubbles that might have shown on the glass so that it was as invisible as possible. And now it won't slide around or fall out. Now for the fun part. I picked up these flowers, making sure to grab small, easily squishable styles. If you want a cheaper option, you can go outside and grab some leaves. Especially at this time of year, you can find some gorgeous colors. Now begin cutting and arranging your flowers around the photos. You can also sprinkle in some petals as well to help fill in the empty spaces. Make sure to flip some of your flowers so that they face the opposite side if you're creating a double-sided frame as well. Then slowly and carefully press the opposite glass over the top of your work. It takes a bit of pressure to really squish down the flowers, and there may be a little bit of moisture coming out of them, but that's okay, it'll evaporate out. And this is the finished frame. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope that you are all inspired to spend your paychecks at the craft store, like I do. And I will see you again very soon. Bye! Time to film a video. A video. Want to cuddle and give kisses?
Oh, thank you.